Many years ago, in the beautiful city of Kumasi, there lived a man called Danso. Danso was a vulcanizer and was married to Nanyamka, who was a hairstylist. And they both had just two children, whose names were Araba and Kojo. Danso and Nanyamka were both poor but very contented. They lived within their means and only bought things that they could afford. However, one day, their only son Kojo fell very ill. Danso and Nanyamka were very worried. They could not afford to take him to the hospital for fear that they may not be able to pay for their son's medical bills. So instead, they just bought drugs from a local pharmacy store. They gave their son all manner of drugs, but he was not responding to treatment. So Nanyamka and Danso finally took their son Kojo to the hospital. But by then, his condition had gotten worse, and the doctor told his parents that they needed to pay 3 million cedis for surgery, as they needed to perform a surgery as soon as possible, else he was going to die. Nanyamka and Danso were very devastated. Where in the world are we going to get that kind of money from? Even if we sell our whole family and everything we own, it will still not be up to that amount. Where are we going to get this kind of money from? Danso said aloud, tears streaming down his eyes. So Danso began asking his friends for money, while Nanyamka sold her wrappers and other valuables that she owned. But all they could raise was the paltry sum of 300,000 cedis. The doctor refused to accept the money until it was complete. So Danso had no choice than to go and beg Chief Abam for money. Everyone knew Chief Abam. He was the wealthiest man in their town. But everyone knew that he was very wicked, and no one in his right senses would ordinarily go to him for help unless they literally had no option. Chief Abam had married at least 7 wives, but they had all died mysteriously. No one knew what happened to them. But at this point, Danso was very desperate. So he went with his wife, Nanyanka, and with his daughter, Araba, so that they could go and beg Chief Abam for money. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, please, I need a loan of 3 million cedis. I promise I will pay you back in no time. My son is very sick and needs surgery. And the doctor says if he doesn't do the surgery now, that he will die. Please help me, sir. Danso said, kneeling and pleading, with tears streaming down his eyes. How do you think he can pay me 3 million cedis, even if you work from now till the next 10 years? Would you be able to pay 1 million cedis? Not to talk of a whole 3 million cedis. Please, 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 I do not want to flush my money down the toilet. And if I give you that money, that is exactly what I will be doing, because you cannot pay me back. Chief Abam said dismissively. And immediately, Araba, their only daughter, fell to her knees and said, Sir, please, we will all work very hard in our family to pay off the money if you loan my father this money. Araba said, with tears in her eyes. Then Chief Abam looked at Danso and said, who is this succulent, beautiful young lady here? So Danso, you do not have money to pay for your son's surgery, yet you have money to marry 2 wives, when me, I don't even have 1 wife. Chief Abam said, already smacking his lips. And then Danso quickly pulled his daughter behind him and said, No, sir, she's not my second wife, she's my daughter. Danso said, looking very scared, it's okay. I think I like what I see. Anyway, I have changed my mind. I will loan you the money, Chief Abam said. But before he could even finish his sentence, Danso and Nanyamka fell to their knees, thanking him profusely. And then Chief Abam replied and said, "You people did not even allow me to finish talking, and you are here thanking me." So as I was saying, before I was rudely interrupted, I was saying that I would loan you the money, but on one condition. If you do not repay back the 3 million cedis in 3 months, then your daughter, Araba, will become my wife, Chief Abam said with a wicked grin on his face. And Danso quickly replied and said, Chief, but she's only 17 years old. She's still a small girl. She's still a minor. Danso said, tears already streaming down his eyes. Chief Abam simply replied him and said, that's my offer. Take it or leave it. Chief Abam replied, already getting upset. By this time, Danso and Nanyamka were already in tears. Then Araba, their only daughter, spoke up and said, I agree. I agree, sir. I will do anything to save my only brother. Araba said, with tears streaming down her eyes. Her parents stared at her with shock, yet relief. But Chief Abam simply looked at her and said, you're a very smart girl. I must say that you're even smarter than your parents. Chief Abam replied with a mischievous smile on his face. So he went ahead and gave her parents the money they asked for. So Danso hurried down to the hospital and paid for the surgery so that they could save his son's life. But after 10 hours in the theater room, the doctor came out with a downcast face and said, I'm so sorry, sir. We tried our very best, but he did not make it. Maybe if we had done the surgery earlier, he might have had a higher chance of survival. The doctor said sympathetically to Danso. Danso screamed and rolled on the floor. My son, my only son. Danso said, wailing loudly. He went back home, weeping and crying. And when his wife and daughter also learned what had happened, they broke down in tears. The days that followed in their home was filled with so much sadness and grief. After a few weeks of grieving, Danso knew that it was time to dust himself up, man up, and start looking for a way to raise Chief Abam's money. He had lost his only son to death and was not going to lose his only daughter to Chief Abam as a wife. Danso knew that there was no way he could raise the money from his vulcanizer business. And he knew that he and his wife had already sold all their valuables. So Danso began to go from one relation to the other, those he had not yet gone to borrow money from, while his wife also did the same. But despite all the borrowing that they did, they could barely raise 200,000 cedis. Then Danso decided to start going to banks to see if he could get a loan so that he could pay back Chief Abam. But all the banks asked for collateral, which Danso did not have. Danso and his wife were so frustrated. We cannot allow our only daughter get married to that man. We need to do something. We need to act fast. Danso said to his wife, looking very scared. So while Danso worked harder at his shop, Nanyamka did the same at her salon. She was even beginning to charge more, just so she could raise money. But despite all their best efforts, 3 months later, and they had not even raised 1 million cedis, not to talk of the 3 million cedis that they owed Chief Abam. So one day, they were all seated in their home when some men in uniform stormed their house. Danso, you have defaulted in paying Chief the loan of 3 million cedis that he gave you. So he has sent us to get your daughter. She would be his wife. The man barked angrily as he seized Araba. Araba struggled with him, but he was too strong for her. Her parents pleaded and begged the man, but all their pleas fell on deaf ears, and they whisked Araba away from her home. Immediately they brought in Araba before Chief Abam. He let out a wicked laugh. Ha 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 ha. You are all mine now. Araba just stood there staring at him. She took a quick look around the house and saw that it was heavily guarded. She had noticed that there were several armed men in the house and there was no running away from this place. She wondered the agony that her poor parents were going through right now, and it was at this point that she broke down in tears. The first few weeks were very miserable for her. She had to cook non-stop for Chief Abam because Chief Abam ate too much and was very dirty. So Araba did not only have to cook for him, but also had to clean up after him. And as if that was not enough, she had to sleep with a man old enough to be her father. And after Chief Abam forced himself on her, he would also force her to take the morning after pill so that she doesn't get pregnant. Araba was very sad and would also spend many days crying and weeping profusely. She noticed a few strange things about Chief Abam, that he always slept with his eyes wide open. There were also other strange occurrences happening in the house. And Araba knew that she had to leave this house, if not she would die. Araba had spent a few months with Chief Abam, and she had even clocked 18 years old while in his house. And she realized that if she did not apply wisdom and save her life, that she would either die like Chief Abam's other 7 wives, or she would rot here because there was no way on earth her parents would be able to raise 3 million cedis. So one day, she came up with a perfect plan. She thought about it, that instead of playing the victim and giving Chief Abam the satisfaction of seeing her in pain, that she was going to turn the tables around. She was not going to give him the pleasure of seeing her suffer. So she decided to be happy instead. So each time Chief Abam screamed at her and said, Araba, Araba, where's that little brat? Come and cook for me. Chief Abam would scream out. And instead of Araba to run out and answer him, looking like a scared cockroach, she would instead walk up to him confidently and say, Okay, my love, I'll go cook something nice for you. Araba replied, smiling confidently. Chief Abam looked very shocked and said, Okay, I like this new you. Chief Abam replied. And from that day, instead of Araba to behave like a victim and always crying or weeping, she began to behave confidently like a mature woman, not like a scared young girl. And soon enough, Chief Abam fell head over heels in love with Araba. They started behaving like lovers. Araba would even gently massage Chief Abam's big tummy, and they would gist and laugh for hours. Their relationship had changed from a hostage situation to a lover's relationship. Chief Abam even started taking Araba out and buying expensive things for her. They even began to play like lovebirds around the house. And he even allowed Araba to go in and out of his home without questioning. He had given instructions to his guards not to ever question her whenever she wanted to go out. Chief Abam even invited her parents, Danso and Nanyamka, to his home. Danso and Nanyamka were shocked at this new development. They saw their daughter, who had left their home a few months ago, weeping and crying, now seated on Chief Abam's laps and gently even rubbing his stomach. They were also very surprised as to how Chief Abam treated them like in-laws, like equals. And soon, Araba began to gain Chief Abam's trust, and Chief Abam began to lower his guard around her and relax, forgetting that she was his captive. And then, Araba began to poison his tea one day after the other. And after a few weeks, Chief Abam died, and Araba made away with lots of money from the house. And the guards did not even know, because Chief Abam had prior to now told them not to question her whenever she was going out. And Araba contacted her parents and sent money to them, and they joined her and they all fled to Cote d'Ivoire, and they started up a new life and lived happily ever after. Hi besties, it's your favorite storyteller, Omalicha. Thank you so much for watching my story to the end. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. Do you think that Araba did the right thing by pretending to be in love with Chief Abam and, taking charge of the whole hostage situation and, killing him at the end and running away? If you were in such a situation, God forbid, but if you were in a hostage situation where you had to live with your captor, how would you have escaped? Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section, and please support your homegirl, Omalicha, by subscribing to my channel, liking my videos, and sharing with your loved ones. So now, till I come your way again with more interesting stories, bye!